home and
we're
I'm
going
like,
live, so anything you say will be on, okay? We can still talk, okay?
when you're at home and you're like, oh, it's breakfast. I can make eggs Benedict at myself at home. And for lunch, I can make a quick pasta.
And what about the echo one?
Turn the volume down on it.
That's when I realized.
Turn it all the way down.
So it'll still catch us?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure?
Yep.
People not gonna say they can't hear me?
Mm-hmm. No, that's just the volume on the.
Okay. Yeah, that is the true result of COVID.
Yeah.
Is being at home so much.
Oh yeah.
4-course breakfast, 3-course lunch.
Snacks all in between.
Snacks.
A great dinner.
You check my Facebook page later? Maybe you can tag her. Facebook, snacks in between.
Oh yeah. Good snack.
You know, this is my first show back since February or March.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I
See, you got a lot to just catch everybody up on.
right.
You just took a break.
Mm-hmm. Is Kerwin out there? Steven, see if Kerwin's out there. I just went blank on how to. Oh, I remember. I think
Is he on the far? Is he sitting at the back there?
No. That's Mr. Johnson.
Is this him?
Yeah, that's the other guy's Kerwin. It's been so long I had a memory lapse. Basically, I cut these two off and I bring these two up, right?
Yeah, and you don't even have to really put these up.
And then I come on there.
This is going to be yours when
And
I would probably suggest go ahead and turn all three of these on. So that opens those two lines for this. And this is yours, this shit. Yeah.
And then when I get rid of the show, just bring it up there.
Right.
And you can speak.
All right.
Okay.
I'll be listening for a minute. And your volumes are correct?
Okay. I hear the good gospel music in my ear.
It sounds like Dorinda Clark Cole singing. Good morning, Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. My name is Dr. James Gilmore, and it feels really good to be back here in the studio. Back with What's Going On, a radio show that focuses on what's going on in Baton Rouge, surrounding areas, surrounding parishes, where we talk about the issues and we talk about what's happening locally, statewide, and across the nation. Again, it feels good to be back in the studio. I haven't been here since about March. For the first couple of months of the year, I can remember reporting on this virus that was it was in China at the time, and I would every Tuesday and Thursday morning I would give statistics and numbers. and about this virus that was, doing damage in other places across the world. And then eventually it ended up right here. So I decided to not host the show for the past several months. The governor had a stay-at-home order. We've had to implement new practices related to social distancing. And so, life is very different than what it was in January and February of this year. And so, but we're back. I thought it was time to come back into the studio and to host this show and to talk about what's going on. And I'm so glad that God has allowed me to be here. I want to send prayers and love and support to everyone that has been impacted by COVID-19. There have been many people that have lost loved ones. There have been many people that have been ill. There have been people who've lost jobs, who've been laid off. And so we are in a very, very different world than we were in 2019. And so I ask for God's grace and God's blessings over all of us. And I asked for a healing of the land, and I did that back in January and February when we saw this virus moving across the globe. Prayed then, and I'm praying now for a healing of the land. But here on what's going on, it feels really good to have in the studio with me a young lady that I have admired for a number of years. Her name is Miss Dianna Payton. Miss Payton is here with me in the studio. She is the CEO of the YWCA-Greater Baton Rouge. I've been knowing her since she was in college. I actually knew her sister first, Kizzy. Been knowing Kizzy, and I actually went to college together, Kizzy Payton. And then I had the privilege of running into her sister. I think you were looking for an internship.
Yes.
In the governor's office. And I was just so elated to know that Kizzy's little sister was in the governor's office. And so we had a chance to work together then. And now she is doing phenomenal things for women in our city. And not just women, she's doing phenomenal things for children and families. And so today's show is dedicated to women. We're going to talk about women and women issues. We're going to talk about the services of the YWCA. And we're going to talk about how you all can be involved and engage with the YWCA and all that it has to offer. How are we doing, Stephen, on live audio? Okay. Dianna, let's test the microphone out. You might get a little closer. Speaking to the mic. Let's see.
All right. Good morning.
Try it now.
Good morning.
Let's try that microphone out.
Okay. Hold up here. I'm a little short. Good morning.
No.
A little closer.
Yeah, try it now.
Okay. Can I move these closer?
I think you're working now. Try that one now.
Good morning.
Yes.
All right.
That sounds excellent. Sounds excellent.
Thank you so much, James, for having me this morning. It's such a pleasure to be here with you.
Always good to see you. And by the way, you look beautiful in white.
All right. Thank you.
So, Dianna, tell us who you are, a little bit about who you are, where you're from, your education and career path.
Oh, wow.
And what do you do right now? Tell us about that.
Absolutely. So excited again to be here this morning and to share about who I am and the work we're doing at YWCA-Greater Baton Rouge. So I am the CEO of YWCA, where our mission is to help eliminate racism and empower women, which is a mission that I'm so passionate about.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to school to the Southern University,
I always
Baton
have to have
Rouge,
that
Louisiana.
said on my set.
Yes.
Okay.
But they said we bleed blue and gold.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
I am one of those Jaguars.
Absolutely. Okay.
I'm a native of Natchitoches, Louisiana.
Okay.
Where I graduated from high school, from Natchitoches Central High School, and then moved here to attend Southern University.
Okay.
And never left Baton Rouge. So I feel like I have two hometowns. Yeah.
And so what do you do at the YWCA as the CEO?
Oh, wow.
And how long have you been in that position?
So I've been in that position for 4 years.
Okay.
I started March 2016 with a goal of really redirecting the organization, resetting our structure, our pathway for the work that we would produce here in Baton Rouge, how to be more responsive to women's needs, to marginalized groups' needs. And so we've spent the last 4 years really reinventing ourselves, becoming more responsive to the community. We have a complete path of new programs that we've launched that we can go into, but it's been phenomenal work. And I think we're being responsive.
So let's talk about that. When you say the issues facing women,
yes,
what are some of the issues that come across your desk daily or on a regular basis that women are facing, or women come to you at the YWCA for assistance?
So what we're seeing as a whole, you would like to believe that we should be past some of the issues I'm about to share, but they've been there for numerous years and they're continuing. Gender-based violence. You mentioned COVID. March was Women's History Month when we were supposed to sit here and have this interview. Everyone, we were scheduled to have this interview in March for Women's History Month, but due to COVID, we had to postpone, and we're here now, thank God. But so let's talk about this gender-based violence. Yes. What we're seeing, especially now with COVID, we were already third in the nation.
Wow.
When it came, Louisiana, to gender-based violence.
Wow.
It's something
third
that,
in the nation.
Yeah. Something that we don't talk about enough, which is actually an improvement. We were second in the nation.
Wow.
Yeah. And from
that many women are being battered?
Yes, and murdered.
And murdered.
So we don't talk about the murder rate as much, but women are dying at the hands of violence. I believe it's caused by multiple issues, but through COVID, because we are in our homes, an increase in domestic violence, as you know. Yes.
Especially what I just mentioned, that people are losing. First of all, there's no excuse for violence.
Right.
But now when you're there and it's due to loss of job, there may be, other things in the household, alcohol or whatever, stress, those numbers are increasing.
Absolutely. We're receiving phone calls.
Do we have shelters to protect women from domestic violence in the city?
We do. We have Iris Domestic Violence that has a shelter. But as you know, the need always far exceeds the resources. And
Dianna, on this show, I love to speak the truth, and whether it's controversial or not. But domestic violence isn't a new issue.
No.
In fact, when you were in the governor's office with us, I believe you might have worked on some projects related to women's issues when Dr. Proctor was there also, working in women's policy. And I remember back then working in housing that there was a shortage of shelters for women who may be victims of domestic violence.
Absolutely, and because of that, the one thing that we've done at YWCA, we've tried to focus on filling the gaps. So we noticed one of the gaps is the lack of affordable housing. So we're building apartments as we speak. Yeah, in Scotlandville.
Wow.
Yes.
The YWCA, everyone,
yes,
is working to eradicate the lack of housing for women that may be victims of domestic violence. And so in doing that, you're not just talking about it, you are actually getting into the business of building affordable housing for these women.
Absolutely.
Wow.
We try to remain flexible enough where we can bridge those gaps. So we're very grateful to Greater King David Church that donated the land to us.
Oh, okay. Shout out to Greater King David and all the pastor and members there donated land to the YWCA to build housing for to shelter women. That's fantastic. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then I have to give two other shout outs, and that is to Mayor Broom. The city of Baton Rouge also provided a tremendous amount of funding for those apartments, and then the Louisiana Housing Corporation, Mr. Keith Cunningham.
So a good collaboration there between the mayor's office, Mayor Sharon Weston Broom, Keith Cunningham, native of Baton Rouge, who leads the Louisiana Housing Corporation,
Absolutely.
and the YWCA, as
Absolutely.
well as Greater King David Church, are building housing to shelter women.
Yes.
You know, I do this show because oftentimes people don't know the good that's going on.
Absolutely.
It's very, you know, it's easy to talk about all the bad things that are happening in Baton Rouge, and we have our share of bad things happening.
Yes.
But, you know, and if I'm the last one to know, then oh well, but I'm very proud of what you all are doing, collaborating together to create some housing for women who are victims of domestic violence, because again, I know this has been an issue for a very long time.
Yes.
And you know, in session after session and council after council and election after election, people talk about it. But, you know, what are people doing to fix it? And so thank you, as CEO, for helping to fix that.
Thank you. Thank you.
What else are some issues that maybe come through your office as it relates to women that you deal with?
So we also deal with employment issues.
Okay.
Many times we have women who are underemployed or unemployed.
Mm-hmm.
We have our early head.
And let's talk about what you mean when you say underemployed.
Yes.
What does it mean for a woman to be underemployed?
So pretty much we're talking about they're not making the wage that they need.
Right. So they're working, but they're still poor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You
So they're
said it
underemployed.
perfectly. They're underemployed. As well as needing to increase their skills. And part of that is due. Okay, part of that is due to the job opportunities here in Louisiana. We're very trade-based types of positions.
So a lot of the jobs default for women to kitchens, restaurants,
yes,
those types of things.
Absolutely. In order to make a decent wage, you either have to go to school and get a degree or some type of certification, or look at non-traditional jobs such as mechanic and automotive types of services.
Truck driving, because
yes,
those are where the wages are.
Exactly.
You've opened my eyes to something, because again, I've done lots of work in job readiness and employment, but that is a challenge.
It's a challenge.
Because if you live in a state like ours that's very, very trade-based, construction-based, industry-based,
yes,
normally women entering those fields is not a norm.
It's not a norm.
And so, but in order to make the wages, they have to.
Or go to school, but in order to go to school, you need childcare, which is why we have early Head Start centers.
So YWCA has early Head Start.
Absolutely.
Okay, so everyone, if you are interested in getting your child an early Head Start, see the YWCA. Tell us about your early Head Start program.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Our early Head Start program is for 0 to 3-year-olds and pregnant women.
Okay, pregnant women out there?
Yes.
Okay, how does that work?
So pretty much for pregnant women, you will enroll in our program and receive support, and also have a chance to connect with other pregnant women. So you can build relationships as you're having questions going through the pregnancy process, any challenges. We're there to help support you through your pregnancy. After you give birth to a healthy baby, that's a healthy birth weight, our hope is at 6 weeks you enroll into our early Head Start program, and your child actually have child care services up to the age of 3.
Wow.
Yes, everything is completely free.
Wow.
The beauty of that program, James, in which many people miss, we have nurses on staff. We actually provide mental health and disability screenings to make sure that children are on target. We have case management to do family plans. Everything is 100% free, from the formula to the diapers. All we ask you to do is please drop off your child. Make sure you have a change of clothes, but we can take it from there.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. 0 to 3.
0 to 3.
Early Head Start at the YWCA.
Yes, sir.
And by having this, women are allowed to do what? When you have this free childcare service at such an early age with
Yes.
children, how does that benefit a woman?
So the goal is that you're able to either go back to school or to complete high school or pursue some type of certification or post-secondary education.
Right.
Or you're
job.
able just to go to work and complete your job as a whole. So we're there to help support you. And for those that are still in transition, It's to help you set a plan to get your goals set.
Okay.
And to accomplish those goals and become self-sufficient.
So you also, it's not just for the child to nurture and develop the child in early Head Start.
No.
You're working with the parents or the mother
Absolutely.
to help get them goal directed and achieving some of their dreams.
So we have a very strong parent engagement component.
Okay, parent engagement.
We have monthly parent engagement activities. Because of COVID, we're having to transition a lot of that work virtually right now.
Mm-hmm.
As the numbers improve in the community, we'll go back to face-to-face
Mm-hmm.
gatherings. But the hope is you build relationships, you build support, and then you're able to educate yourself and better your whole family
Mm-hmm.
household.
Wow, you all do so much over there.
Thank
How many
you.
employees do you have at the YWCA?
66
Wow,
is
all of this work. And how many children do you have in early Head Start?
So we have a total of 172 children
Okay.
and 28 pregnant women.
Wow,
Yes, we're the only early Head Start provider here in Baton Rouge now,
wow.
due to our collaboration with the city of Baton Rouge.
Oh, y'all doing a lot of collaboration with our mayor.
Yes.
Shout out to Mayor Sharon Weston Broom and all these
Yes.
collaborations for community service work in our community.
We are so grateful to
Building
Mayor
housing
Broom.
and
Yeah.
educating children.
Absolutely,
Fantastic.
supporting women.
Yes, and supporting women.
Yes.
So you talked about housing, you talked about employment, you talked about domestic violence. Any other major issues out there, and I know there are lots, but are there any other major issues out there related to that women are facing before we transition into our next discussion?
Absolutely. The last thing I'll share is two other things. One would be trauma counseling. So what we're seeing as women are dealing with different issues, especially during COVID, having that mental health support is so essential. We have received funding from a recast grant from the city of Baton Rouge.
I'm familiar with the recast
Yes.
grant. Yeah.
So we provide counseling services. It's available to anyone. But also I would offer for teen pregnancy prevention and STD prevention. One thing we see with girls, black girls, girls of color, many times the portrayal of us in the media and different things may not be as positive. So we work with teen girls to help build their self-esteem, help empower them, where they learn to own their bodies, and hopefully that prevents pregnancy once you set goals and feel more empowered for yourself, but also so they can build support to the network of other girls who are also trying to obtain goals. And the hope is they will feel as if they're beautiful. They will feel supported and know that they have a safety net. And that's the purpose.
And that'll help them make better decisions, be
Absolutely.
it when to have a child, where to go to school, what to major in, by building their self-esteem.
And that's our CLA program.
CLA program.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Wow, so the YWCA here in Baton Rouge is doing some phenomenal things to address some of the challenges that women are facing in our community. As mentioned, helping women who may be victims of domestic violence. If you're out there, if you're in a relationship that is challenging, you should definitely seek out the YWCA. The CEO talked about the collaboration with the City of Baton Rouge and Greater King David Church and the Louisiana Housing Corporation to build housing, to shelter women who may be victims of domestic violence. And we also talked about employment. How to help women find jobs and get job training and find careers that allow them to not be underemployed, to be able to make a living. And that's something else that you all should seek out the YWCA for. And then last, we talked about just nurturing, building the self-esteem of our young teens, female teens, so that they can prevent unplanned pregnancy and be able to make decisions in life before making the decision to have a child.
Absolutely.
And so these are resources that are right here at the YWCA that I'd encourage you all to go seek out. Now, tell me this. It's very easy for folks to, perceive the YWCA as being just for women.
Yeah.
Okay, when you think YWCA, just you think, oh, that's a place where you go if you're a woman and you need these services. They don't do anything for men, so that's not true. First of all, right?
No, not at all.
Okay, what role does a woman? Do men play in receiving services and being a partner and participate with the YWCA? Where do men fit in?
Yes, so men, because we serve the whole gamut. We're not just a women's organization, but that's our main focus area. But when you talk about eliminating racism, which is the second portion of our mission,
Okay.
yes, eliminating racism encompasses so much more than just women. That also requires us looking at men and the whole families as a whole. I could start with our Community Bail Fund.
Yes. I'm so glad you said that. We have to talk about this bail fund. If you have been, and I'm going to look at my camera. I got a Mevo camera in here, y'all, something new. I didn't have this pre-COVID. If you have been watching the news over the past several months, even in 2019,
yes,
and you have been wowed by seeing people be bailed out of jail by the YWCA and their partners. Now we're going to hear more about it. How did it come about?
Yes.
Why do you do it? What any backlash are you getting for it? And what impact is it having? So tell us about this Community Bail Fund.
Our Community Bail Fund started, we bailed out our first individuals December of 2018 for Christmas.
I remember that.
Yes, to help some women return home for Christmas.
Yes.
The bail fund was birthed out of looking at our community as a whole, and when I did a scan and looked at the data, and as I said before, we're all about the gaps. I recognize you can't talk about eliminating racism and not touch criminal justice services.
Right.
They're hand in hand.
Absolutely.
And so we have a lot of programs that are going on to help support individuals as they're released or while they're in prison. But when it came to bail services, helping people to have the funds to return home and hopefully fight their case better, where they're not pleading a deal because they're sitting in there waiting for their trial date.
And they're afraid, exactly.
Right. If we help them get out as soon as possible, hopefully they can keep their jobs, they can keep their housing, they can stay connected to their children. And the hope, if you stay there so many weeks or months, your job is gone, your children may have been taken, or family members are taking care of them. We wanted to fill that gap, so we started the bail fund to be there to help people who were lacking $1,000 or $5,000 is preventing them from going home.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you know approximately how many people since 2018 you've been able to help bail out?
So we bailed out a little over 100.
Wow.
Yeah, I will say during the COVID emergency, as you know, space and social distance is a challenge in prisons. And we recognized we needed to get as many people out as possible. The Robert F. Kennedy Foundation.
I was about to ask, so where do you get the money to bail folks out?
We have some phenomenal donors.
Okay.
I'll start with our local donors that I just have to give shout outs to who helped seed the bail fund, and it wouldn't exist without them. And that's Winifred and Kevin Riley Jr.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
The Wilson Foundation and Foundation for Louisiana.
Yep, I'm very familiar with all of those groups.
Those three took a chance on a new program, and it has grown in leaps and bounds since then. Robert F. Kennedy Foundation gave us a huge amount just to do a special bailout for COVID-19.
Wow.
We bailed out 27 people.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Followed by the Power Coalition. We did a Juneteenth bailout. Yes, Ashley Shelton.
Known her a long time.
Yes, I'm very grateful to Ashley. And as well as Colin Kaepernick.
Colin
Kaepernick. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Colin Kaepernick is donating money to our YWCA here in Greater Baton Rouge to help
Absolutely.
bail people out of jail.
Absolutely.
Wow.
We were one of 10 organizations in the nation that he selected.
Wow.
So our bail fund.
Another moment to be proud of Baton Rouge.
Yes.
Okay? We're not proud that we're locking people up. Let's get that straight. Okay? And that's for the next show.
Yeah.
Okay? But we are proud to know that we have the YWCA that's bailing folks out who have, again, $500,000, don't have $500,000, and it's causing such detriment and harm and trauma to them. And we're also proud of all the foundations, including Colin Kaepernick,
Yes.
for sending money this way to Baton Rouge to do that.
Absolutely.
So that tells us that evidently, if you have these major foundations that are funding this bail program, number one, it's a great thing. But number two, they must trust the YWCA here in Baton Rouge with their money.
Yes.
Because they're not going to put their money in places that they don't trust.
Absolutely.
And so evidently the work that you're doing is getting national recognition.
Absolutely. We've had the opportunity to be shared with a feature with CBS News.
Okay.
And after the George Floyd incident,
Mm-hmm.
I must mention it was so tragic and horrific. The back end of that, we experienced such a flood of donations
Really?
from throughout the country and some international gifts.
Wow.
I
There are
never
people out there who care and
Yes.
want to right this wrong and correct this issue.
never thought we would receive that outpouring. I failed to mention one other major donor, and that's Sean and Jennifer Riley.
Okay.
Sean
Yeah.
Riley. They also, after the George Floyd incident, they felt compelled to help in some type of way, and we're very grateful for their support as well.
So the community should be, and I'm sure we are, recognizing you and thanking you and all of your staff for this great work that you're doing in Baton Rouge. Again, we have a lot of issues here in our city, and we can talk about the issues and we can post about the issues, but it's good to know that there are people out there and organizations out there, such as the YWCA, that's actually working to fix the issues, to correct the problem.
Because here's the other thing, you mentioned men, and this ties all back to men,
Right.
which we know the highest percentage of individuals in our local parish prison are black
Black
males.
brothers. Yep.
Also recognizing when that bail money has to be paid, it's coming from women. Many times it's women who have to pull
Put up
together
money
the
to get
funds.
their spouses or their boyfriends or their brothers or their
Exactly.
dads out.
Exactly,
Wow.
which impacts the household as a whole. Many times they're now down to one income if you did have a partner. Many times they're working jobs that's retail or making minimum wage.
We just talked about that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Underemployed.
Underemployed. And so we're trying to not just address the needs of women, but recognizing as we address this need with men, we're also impacting women.
Right.
Yes.
So again, this show is to talk about the great things, but I also like to get down to the nitty gritty.
Yes.
Any backlash from this? Any naysayers out there?
Not really.
Very good.
I am so proud of our community, unlike other areas throughout the country.
Right.
We can honestly say the public defender's office is on board.
Very good.
Our district attorney's office is on board.
Really?
Yes. We have been able to collaborate even with the prison. Everyone is pulling together, trying to do what we can to fix the situation, or at least even judges and understanding. We are here to support individuals. Once we bail them out, that's not the end of the work we do.
So I was about to ask you that question. So once you bail them out, is there any follow-up work? Is there any support or assistance you give them at
Absolutely.
the YWCA? What are some things that you've had to help folks out?
Oh wow, so we actually provide case management once we bail you out.
Okay.
Recognizing number one, there's so many fines and fees that's attached to bailing
Which
people
is a
out.
problem.
Yes.
Too many fines and fees. That's another look into the camera, Dr. Gilmore, and let the public know, with the fines and fees are keeping our people locked up, keeping our people poor, and we need to reform that
Absolutely.
system. But go ahead.
So many times, some individuals may require monitoring systems. We have individuals that may truly need substance abuse assistance, which is the majority of the issues that we deal with.
Substance abuse.
Mental health and substance abuse at the core of it.
People don't know. Unfortunately, we as society, I'm not pointing the blame at anyone, because we all can be victims of substance abuse and mental health issues, and we just are not investing enough resources in that area.
It's so hard to get beds.
Yeah, it's so hard to get beds. It's hard to find psychologists and psychiatrists.
Yes.
When you talk to psychologists and psychiatrists, they say the reimbursements aren't worth it. You have so many people that may not be insured, so their mental health isn't covered. They don't have the $100 an hour to go sit on the couch and get therapy. So our society has to really tackle that mental health trauma issue, and how do we fix it, especially as it relates to substance abuse. Because there's alcohol in every corner, especially in the hood, and so and drugs, and so it's everywhere.
And what you're seeing is petty theft. Or theft for heroin addictions. You have some strong drugs out there that people are addicted to.
And they go to jail for, and we need to fix the addiction.
Exactly. So we do a lot of work around that, making sure that they're reconnected with their Medicaid so they can get their prescriptions filled and get to the doctor. We build women out who's dealt with female issues and cancer.
Oh, wow.
We've dealt with terminally ill individuals as well, who just needed to get some assistance so they could at least die with dignity.
Wow.
Yes. It's amazing some of the challenges that we've seen. But
after you bail them out, so once you bail them out, it's still a host of things that you all have to do.
Just the beginning. We help with furniture, we help with first month's rent, whatever's needed to help them get back on their feet. To the best of our ability, we try to provide it, or at least partner to come up with those resources.
So, again, I want to say I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Jen.
And all that you've accomplished in your career. I'm so proud of the YWCA. We've talked about all of these things that you all have to offer. So now, how do people find you? Where do we go to get these resources? What number do we call? What website do we go to? Women, those who are dealing with challenges, men, families, early Head Start, those of you all who would like to enroll you or your child in early Head Start, where do they go and who do they call and what website do they go to?
Absolutely. So our website is probably the best resource right now. We are still doing some remote work.
Okay.
So our website is YWCA- or -BR for Baton Rouge.org.
Okay.
With
That's YWCA -BR.org. Okay.
From there, you can see on our website if you need help. You can select which type of help you need. You can put all your contact information in there.
Oh, wow.
And I can assure you that someone will follow up with you. Many times it's actually me. If you put it in there in the middle of the night and I roll over and I see it, I will respond to you.
Okay.
Respond to your message.
CEO.
I try my best.
Okay.
I try my best.
And y'all taking phone calls? Some
Yes.
folks may not have internet access. So
Absolutely.
what number can they call?
So they can call our office 225-383-0681. Again, that number is 225-383-0681.
I'll definitely post this contact information when we replay this show. Ms. Payton, is there anything else that you'd like to share with us about the YWCA and any of the great things you all have on the horizon? And what about, can people donate?
Absolutely.
Okay, so how, if someone wanted to contribute, make a small donation or a larger donation to the YWCA, how would they be able to do that?
They can do that by website as well.
Okay.
They can also mail us. You'll see it on our website, our address. You could mail a check if you want to do that. If you want to call and we need to run your card for you, we're happy to do that as
gotcha.
well.
Okay, so you accept credit card donations from the public, checks, and again, obviously based on the past 40 minutes of conversation, your money will be worthwhile. You will be serving this community. You will be serving people who are in desperate need. You will be giving a hand up, not a handout.
Yes.
Let me make that clear, that what the YWCA is doing is building lives. Okay, they're not just giving away money. They are building lives and building people and building families, which is what we need more now than ever.
Oh, thank you,
Yes,
James.
which is what we need more now than ever.
Yes.
It's a nonprofit organization, so your contributions are tax deductible. Okay, and I want to. Is there anything else you want to share with the public before we close out?
I just want to say thank you, James.
Absolutely.
And it's my pleasure. Know that YWCA is here for you. We exist for you. Every woman that lives in the capital region automatically is a part of YWCA. This is your organization that represents you. If you need something, call us, email us, contact us on the website. We'd be more than happy to assist in any way we can.
Thank you so much, Ms. Payton, Dianna Payton, the CEO of our capital area, Baton Rouge area YWCA, for being on the show. Phenomenal information that she shared about what the YWCA offers our community, offers women and families. We also talked about the challenges, and I'd like for everyone to get on board in fighting these challenges that women are facing, and their families are facing, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's lack of jobs or good paying jobs, whether it's child care, or whether it's making smart decisions that are needed in order to live healthy lives. We need to be involved in uplifting our women in this society, and when we uplift our women, we uplift our children, our men, and our families. Again, if you would like to learn more about the YWCA services, go to www.ywca-br.org or call 225-383-0681. Again, thank you all. Go ahead.
I can say thank you to you, James.
Yeah, you can. Okay.
James, before we wrap up, I want to say thank you. Number one, so happy you're back on air.
I'm glad to be back here too.
After the past 2 months. But James, thank you for your show. You highlight true issues in the community. You continue to be a voice for good. And thank you for having us here today and having me here today.
Absolutely, absolutely. Remember, you all, we're back on What's Going On every Tuesday and Thursday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. to talk about what's going on locally here in Baton Rouge, the state, the nation, and the world. I ask you to tune in also on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, What's Going On, with Dr. James Gilmore, as well as a YouTube page, What's Going On. Trying to get a little technology there. And so tune in every Tuesday and Thursday and watch the shows online and share them. The goal is to inform, to educate, to empower, and to have the discussion. Again, thank you for tuning in to 106.1 FM WTQT. I am Dr. Gilmore with What's Going On, and may you have a fantastic rest of your week. Bye-bye. Yeah, that was great. Thank you so much.
No, thank you, James. That was one. Time flew by.
It goes by fast.
Oh,
It
my.
does. Let me see what to do here.